if your CP4 takes a dump. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. I think, well, tonight, I think that it is a very good subject to talk about because a lot of people are very concerned about their fuel system health and what they can do to help keep the fuel system healthy.
I feel like we may have talked about that last time.
We did, but I did not have. Yeah, this is kind of part two. What's going on?
What we need to do is talk about my trailer getting stolen. And then talk about that kill switch.
We will.
That's what we should do. That's a hot topic. That trailer got stolen, and then that truck almost got stolen. Boom, kill switch.
Kill switch would have.
And then we'll talk about. Then we'll talk about the CP4. Like,
well, it looks like you can talk about it a little bit right now.
What?
Your trailer. Oh no, here he comes back.
We're back. Where are we at?
Chat. Yeah, I think we start with that damn trailer shit, and then talk about that truck getting stolen. Then talk about that switch. And then talk
Absolutely.
About that. Then that CP4 shit. Do we talk about? People don't give a fuck about that pump until it's too late. Until it's too late.
Until it's too late, and unfortunately, I think that scares a lot of people because either
it scares a lot of people from even getting the truck in the first place. They're like, let me just get a 7.3.
True. But what I have today on the table, everybody can probably see that quite well. This is a CP4 pump. This is in all of our 6.7s. A lot of other manufacturers use the same. But what we have behind me is something that we can use to help prevent a total catastrophic failure of the high pressure fuel system. This pump is quite expensive. What up, Chad? Thanks for coming through. Yeah, we talked about this in a video where I actually took this apart. I'm sure DS and Cody both remember. Everybody probably remembers where we had a instance where the customer put DEF in their fuel system. So one of the things SNS talks about with their kit is their addition or add-on. I don't know if I can turn this around to show you guys this better. Yeah, that'll work. This is the volume control valve. We call it the VCV. Luke over at SNS, they were referring to this as the metering valve. Same thing, just kind of different terminology. You guys can see the VCV screen filter, everything on here. See the blue O-ring. It fits into the bore. Ford Asset Tech, what's going on? What's up, everybody?
I got a question.
You guys can see. Let me just show you guys this bore.
I got a question for you.
Tell me.
So the last time we talked on the podcast, we were talking about the screen on that. What I would say is a sensor. Is that a sensor? Is that the
VCV?
Yeah, is that an actuator? What is that?
Actuator, valve, something.
So
controller.
We were talking about the screen sometimes being missing. Is that correct?
I don't know about the screen being missing.
Was not enough filtration to.
Not enough filtration.
Not a small enough micron. I could have sworn someone said like sometimes it's torn.
Clean up a little bit of that oil. Don't want to make a mess.
Am I mistaken in that the screen sometimes torn?
You see
Um,
that more on a 6-liter than you do on that.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
nothing really to tear on this. You guys can see that pretty.
So all your fuel goes through that tiny little screen.
That's correct. Everything. So all those thousands. I mean, take a second and ponder that. The thousands of gallons that goes through your truck goes through this hole right here, comes out through these lines.
And that's like
that's
when
huge
I
right there.
when I look at that, I imagine like a miniature engine, like a twin V with 2 cylinders. Is that correct? That pump fuel.
I mean, that's an analogy I guess you could use. I guess that's an analogy you could use. It it I mean, it just has one cam lobe. It does have a crankcase, which, when you think about it, when the high pressure fuel system failure happens, everything that's in the crankcase gets shot right back out and goes into the fuel system. So what SNS has came up with is a kit. You guys can check this out on their website. I highly recommend that you do. When I got this in the mail on Saturday, I was very, very impressed with the quality. I'm all about quality and fitment. I thought that the way this was made is very nice. I really like the clear bowl so I can actually see what's in here. Kind of reminds me of a 6.0 upper fuel filter. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. I really like that. And the whole reasoning for their kit is to divert all of said fuel away from the rest of the system. So what I've done is I've gotten, this is a 17 through 19 high pressure fuel pump that I borrowed from one of my other shops here locally that continuously has a supply of these because of the rate of failures that we see with people and fuel system contamination, especially those who are putting DEF, who are not using additives, who are not paying attention to where they're filling up. It's a little more to owning a diesel than just getting in the vehicle and turning the key. You have to be very cognitive of a lot of things, and if you can't stay up on that, then I think maybe having a diesel possibly is not for you. So you guys can see here, this guy, don't ask Ryan. Come on, buddy. Don't make me delete that comment. I like the machine. Looks good. It comes with one of these blue gaskets here in their kit, right here. And that blue gasket is going to go right on the bottom side of that, just like that did. And that is going to fit into here.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
See that?
Yeah.
Let me bring this closer so you guys can check
So
this out.
where does the filter mount?
Check this out. Okay, so this is
wow.
what your pump is looking like. This is actually going in to where the VCV sits in that cavity. Okay, they even have their name. I like it. Okay, so once that's installed, let me piggyback this back in here. Okay, then your VCV, your stock VCV that you just took out, is going to go.
What does VCV stand for?
Volume control valve.
Okay.
Okay, so your VCV is going to sit in here like this. So it's going to be raised up on the little, I'd say, 3/4 inch maybe, block of aluminum. And they do give you bigger, or I should say longer bolts here in the kit, which are a 5.5 Allen. The what company makes this again? This is S&S. ssfuel.com. Yes, yes. It is a nice kit. And a fitting broke. I agree with Cody on that one. But going back to this, going into the pump, once it gets out of the pump, and they got assembly lube and everything in here, the VCVs juicing all over these new parts. I just don't want to juice on them yet. Forgive me. But on the other end of this, check this out. Now, you guys know I'm all about OE, fitment, quality. Check these out. This is straight up a nice double O-ringed quick disconnect. Nady out there, I know where you are. He knows who he is. I'm talking to him. We're all about the Oetiker clamps. I don't like the constant tension. I'm sorry, the worm clamps. I found I've had great luck with these, especially if you get them to bite correctly. Some of the 17 through 19s, if you guys remember my video I made with the cooling hoses on top of the engine that were leaking, some of these clamps were just not tight. But overall, not having, obviously this isn't a high pressure line, very, very well made. I like it. When I first opened it, this was obviously the first thing I saw. I was like, whoa, okay, it's got S&S on there. I like it. It's blue, so you know that's me. Fit in here flawlessly. I liked it a lot. In the kit, another set of lines. Again, quality. Double stage, quick disconnect, just like on the fuel rail we have currently. Okay, very nice. Here's another one, another billet aluminum piece with their name on it, right there, both sides. Okay, and then another piece. This is going to be a special piece to go along with their instructions. Okay, it's a little thicker of a line. Color instructions. I'm going to be making a video installing this on a 6.7 diesel.
Dude, we can use my truck.
We
No
can
problem.
use your truck, no problem.
No problem at all.
I'm really excited. You know, the first thing when I do installs, looking at the pictures for one S&S, thank you. The pictures, exquisite. Whoever's making these, guys got the arrows pointing, got all of the intake bolts circled. Looks like this engine's on an engine stand. If I was a shoemaker, I can clearly see that these are the bolts that I need to remove. Very well put together. I'm really excited to go through this. Got a special note, 2 asterisks in quotations here, or parentheses, for 2020 plus. Please see page 7 for special instructions. Well, you know what? Let's go to page 7. Page 7. Page 7, install the supplied hose and quick connect barb assembly onto the fuel line. So this is what they're going to want you to be doing if you have a 2020. We'll get into more detail on that when I get this on DS trucks. But the other question that I was also asking myself when this came in was this filter.
Where to put it?
Where to put it? It is going. I will show you a picture of that because that's probably on everybody's mind. Instead of me describing where it goes,
let's route it to inside of the cab by the infotainment so I can look at it while it drives.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's a great idea.
Because fuel going through the bulkhead is real safe.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Let's see. I mean, I guess depending on what year you have, this is a different picture, but this is like right behind the degas bottle, sorta. don't know if you guys can there we go. Oil fill. Okay, so here's your oil fill. Here's your degas bottle. So if you guys can orientate, where the cowl is and whatnot. So that's where the filter is going to be sitting. But it is a no-brainer for how it comes out. So once you have, it has another bracket, like a 90-degree bracket right here, this piece of aluminum that this affixes to. And then this just kind of sits in these little grooves like this and snaps. Ooh, don't bust it. Just snaps right in. I'm still curious to how this actually comes off. I really tried to twist this off and could not use it. Could not use it. I could not get it off, but I didn't want to use a tool just yet. So I stopped because I didn't want to mess it up because it's brand new. But yeah, here's the top of the filter.
So is that a drain valve on the bottom of the plastic?
Yep. So lefty loosey, you're going to be draining. Righty tighty, you're going to be closing. You guys can see that inside. See that open and close. There you go. Yeah. Really excited to get that on and show you guys what that looks like on a 6.7 diesel. In my eyes, we're constantly learning on these things. Got a good video coming out here shortly in the next few weeks about a diag issue that I had with a truck. We're always learning, and I want to pass that info on to you guys so you guys don't make that same mistake. But this is a hot item. It's something, out of all the questions I think I get, I think most of them are always about the CP4 and whatnot. Let's go back to these comments here. See what you guys are saying. Go back up. Cam McGavin says, why doesn't Ford add that or something similar to their engine if this is a problem? Well, I guess that's a kind of a question that can be taken two different ways. But I mean, it's really not a problem. The fuel's the problem. The pump's just not failing by itself. Oh man, Doppelganger. Hey y'all. Fuel is a variable that we cannot control, and unfortunately, I know that the CP4 pump was designed using European standard fuels, and the United States of America does not have those same standards. So when you start using components that were designed and engineered using one standard of fuel and then you're changing something big, and that variable is the fuel. So, why are we using a Bosch pump that is designed with European standard fuel? I don't know. I don't really know who to ask that question. I mean, it's a really good pump. It makes great pressure. The only hangup is that it has to have lubricity. And people, I mean, I think they would know, but people that don't know, diesel fuel is oily. And not only is it producing the power we need to sustain combustion and drive the piston down and make power and for us to go down the road, but it's also lubricating everything in here. Everything in here, all these moving parts in here, everything that's touched by fuel is being lubricated. And same thing with the injectors. And we have to make sure, whether we're looking at hot shots, I'm looking at some diesel extreme right now. Up top, I got some AMS oil. I'm bouncing back and forth. On the very, very bottom, I still have some cetane motorcraft additive that I haven't finished up yet. It is a must. It's not like, oh, well, yeah, I think, I'm just going to add some, this tank and then, go absent-minded and like, oh, yeah, I think I'm just going to add some more now. It has to be in every tank thing to do. You go to the bathroom, you do number two. Do you just get up and go continue what you were doing? No, you stop, you wipe after number two. At least I hope everybody does. Well, every time you fill up, it has to be a habit to add an additive to your fuel. Um, it's a variable we cannot control. I was
Well,
talking.
one thing that's consider is the hydroscopic nature of diesel fuel. You have the water separator, and a lot of times, like you were saying, if you get that notification on your dashboard, it might literally be too late. So, that's another thing. Like for me, when I'm draining my water separator, I don't know why, but I mean, I haven't really gotten any water just yet in the times that I've done it, but you never know when you're going to get it. You never know if for some reason you got water from the pump, which shouldn't happen, but I mean, who knows? Things happen. So I think that's a big factor for how these pumps fail. And then or you always have the situations where someone takes your truck, borrows it, and then they put gasoline in it or whatever by mistake, and that can damage CP4 for sure. So
Yeah.
the when a lot of guys are getting fuel from different fuel stations. You don't know how that equipment is maintained, or how, like, if someone in trucking, they got a big tank somewhere, some construction yard somewhere, you never know what could be in the bottom of that tank. So
I talked about this with Lex and Riot. I got a video that we did. I guess a Zoom interview, just some questions she had with her subscribers and just her, just her general owner questions.
I would like to talk to her.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have her to get on here on the live stream here on these next couple weeks. But she was asking some of the same questions and was, concerned about how do you really check to know if you're getting good fuel, and really you need to take a sample, and you're gonna be probably looked at like, what do you do? What's this guy doing over here? Get you a mason jar. How else are you gonna know?
Well, I guess you could.
My wife has those big mason jars. She puts like flour in and stuff.
Is it fair to say you could just take your sample out of your water separator?
Yeah, but don't you want to know before you put in? If you're at some podunk place that you're unfamiliar with, get that mason jar out that you've been holding on to in the back of your truck for that just in case. Pump that thing up with a gallon or something. If you feel good, then dump it in your tank. But if it looks cloudy or is messed up, hey, you know what? Let me pay for this gallon of gas, but you know what? I'm going to be on my way. I'll go get towed someplace else because I'm not putting this fuel in my truck. Yeah, but nobody's thinking this when we're pulling up to the pump. Everybody's in life and so fast, and it's like, oh, I'm here to pull up, let me get in and go. Well, hold on. I mean, if you're not in the place where you usually fill up, do you want to know really what's going on in your time? I mean, do you want to know?
For me, I'm always thinking about my fuel, whether I'm in my gas F250 or I'm in my 450. I'm always thinking like, all right, my 250, what do I want to put in here? Do I want premium? Do I want regular? I'm never really just putting gas in mindlessly, but you got to realize, like, a lot of people, they're not thinking about it, especially like an employee or something like that. They're not thinking. They're just fill it up, not thinking. Like, I know right now, if I told my little brother, go fill up my truck, and I said, do not put gas in the truck, he will go and put gas in my 450. He forget. By the time he gets to the gas station, he forget. And
well, that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. He only pumps gas. So, I just pump gas all the time. And then he started up and drive home until the engine blows up. Like, I don't know what happened. But, people aren't that, not everybody's cognizant of what kind of fuel. For me, I'm already thinking about the grade anyway.
Oh, snap.
So knock on wood, there's no chance that I'll put gas in there.
Well, that's not a good thing. I mean, that's what I want to do. SMB. Side note: if anybody's thinking about getting, excuse me. If anybody's thinking about upgrading to a bigger capacity fuel tank. I have worked with both Titan and SMB fuel tanks. After working with the Titan, I thought it was cool. And then I did an SMB and I was like, whoa. Fitment, quality, definitely a quality difference between the Titan. Not knocking them. When you compare and contrast, if I'm going to be spending $1,200 on a tank, I'm going with SMB. Really good video. I didn't show how to take the old tank out in this video because I have already shown you guys how to take the tank out in a previous video. So I linked that video in this video, but going over how to install the SMB, clean, stock looking. It was SMB for the win.
How many gallons is that?
20, 60. It went from went from 34 to 60.
Ooh.
And you would need either Forescan, FDRS, IDS, or any scan tool that would allow you to change the instrument cluster on how it looks to calculate the distance to empty. So definitely
60
definitely
gallons.
SMB.
Pretty
I mean,
cool, man.
if you like for your instance, you know, it's kind of, I mean,
No, I got a 48 gallons.
You know what I mean? So like, do you do it for 12 more gallons? I mean, if you're hot shotting, I guess maybe, but you know, if you're just, I don't know. It did have a drain plug. Not that you want to have a drain plug on your fuel tank, but if you needed to have a drain plug on your fuel tank, S&B has a drain plug on their fuel tank. So I guess that's something to be aware of. But let me know if you guys want to see a 6.7 run on trans fluid, because I want to do one. I want to find a 6.7 that's either about to die or somebody doesn't care about and just have me ruin it and pay to fix it. So I mean, I'm totally cool with that. But who wants to see a 6.7 run on trans fluid? I know I do. That'd be cool.
You think it would need to be a non-emissions vehicle?
I don't know. I don't think I'd really care at that point. I don't think it'd go through the injectors. It'd probably have to be like thinned out with diesel, because I don't think it's gonna compress that diesel trans fluid. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not gonna be happy.
Yeah, it would not be happy. What's this guy say? How big S&B for a 350 dually? I think the biggest they got 60 gallon.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah,
like
60 max. I've been looking at the S&B tank at 60 gallon. How much do you think you can get out of it? This guy, so he filled up and his cluster was
like 9 something.
No, that was that before I switched it from PCM to IPC? His new updated distance to empty was 1,087.
So the long bed, you can get a 68 gallon tank for the 17 to 21. 11 to 16 is a 70 gallon tank.
Dang.
For the long bed. The short beds are 60 gallon tanks.
Okay. I didn't know that they actually had a 70. I thought that
they do also have a aft tank for the cabin chassis trucks, but they're just
that's bigger, or it's 40 gallon.
It's just a 40 gallon replacement tank.
Really? Poly.
Wow. I wouldn't mind having a 70 gallon. I should be able to get that in a 450. It's a long bed. 70 gallons.
Yes, you're at a 68.
Oh, 68.
Yeah. You got to make room for that filter.
Man.
But the 11 through 16s will be 70 gallons.
Oh, okay.
I can share the screen. I have it up right now.
This guy says, I have a 70 gallon tank in my 84 diesel Mazda pickup. That's awesome. Why do the buckets turn in the cylinder inside the CP4? Armed Prophet, great question. Okay. That, in my honest opinion, is why we are getting metal to metal. Why they are turning, I really don't know. However, I can only speculate, and it's only a hypothesis because I don't have the funds or any way to test this theory. So everybody's complaining about these noises, right? From their fuel pump, their fuel tank area. I'm thinking this noise is obviously coming. I can drive from Michigan to Seattle without fueling. Holy criminy. This guy made me lose my train of thought.
Talking about the rotation of
Yeah.
and the noise.
When I showed you guys the noise, not showed you or tried to let you guys listen to the noise in that fuel pump video that I did, you could hear it almost sounds like aeration. When I hear diesel and I think aeration, the first thing that comes to my mind is a 6.4. Okay, aeration, 6.4. Aeration, I think cavitation. When I think cavitation, I think front cover. I think eroding. Those bubbles, air is not good. What's up, Jason? If that air is constantly getting into the high pressure fuel system, I'm not saying it's happening every time. I'm not saying it's happening all the time. When the conditions are right, whenever these low pressure pumps are making that noise that you saw in my video, 430 gears, he says at 430 gears.
430 gears. I don't have any. Oh, I got some water over here. Drink some of that water.
Do you think?
Here's my thought. Here's my thought.
Break it down for me.
A lot of guys are not priming their CP4 pump when they change their fuel filters. There's videos on YouTube of guys who are saying, hey, let me show you how to do a filter change. We're going to do let's make a video how to do a filter change. They go and they change the filter, and the order that they're doing everything isn't in a good order. They're draining it at one point. They're taking this off at another point. They're cranking it, and it's 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 cranking it. It's not getting any fuel. And they're like, well, it won't start. Well, what you got to do is you got to do everything in order. My order, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know for sure, because I'm, just me, just DS over here. My thing is I'll drain the bottom first. And while that's draining, I will take everything. I'll service the top filter. I'll take all the clips off and I'll put in the new filter, clip it together, whatever, the new one's in. Then when the bottom's done draining, now as far as how much, a lot of guys are saying, how much do you let drain out or whatever? When I'm doing the filter service, I'll just, like I said, I'll open the bottom up and I'll let that one drain. And then once it's empty, I'll take it off and I'll put the new filter in there. I'll secure all the bolts. All the bolts. And then from there, my top one's done. My bottom one's done. Everything's done. I'm not about to crank the engine though. First, I'm gonna prime. I got the remote. I got the push button start. So I'm gonna push the button and let it pump. And I'm gonna do that like 8 to 10 times. And it's gonna sound different. Now, even at that point, at 8 to 10 times, it starts to sound like, it's getting to be primed. There's still some air.
There is.
It seems like there is. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
But it can start. And at that point, 8 to 10 times, I'll start it, and then it'll fire right up or whatever. But the truck's not cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking
No.
because there's no fuel in that CP4 pump, and there's a big air gap, straight air, and there's no lubrication. You don't want to run the CP4 pump without any lubrication. So
No. Absolutely not.
I think that's a factor for potential failures. You guys, I mean, once something like that happens, you never really know the full story. So,
Oh, this guy's says my 2020. Brandon Power Stroke says my 2020 is much louder than my 19. I mean, it very well possible, but the fuel systems are different compared to 19 and 20. I mean, it does have a CP4 2. We are like 7,000 psi higher than your 19. So
when you see these, what do they call it? Buckets, or is that what they call it?
Mhm.
When you see these buckets rotate, are they high mileage engines, or are they like brand new?
And it's any year.
Yeah, I don't really.
I thought, did you have a pump that came apart?
I did, but I didn't take that one apart.
So my thinking on that is like, so there's nothing to keep it from rotating, and it's just up against the square cut cam lobe or whatever that thing is. But the only thing to really keep it from rotating is the pressure of the spring. That pressure keeping both those faces flush together is kind of what prevents it from spinning. Is that right?
The spring would, yeah.
So if your spring's getting worn, I mean, how many cycles has it gone through? And does that spring ever wear out? Say you got 200,000 miles or whatever. That spring is not going to have the same effect as a brand new one. Could potentially float easier than a brand new spring. So maybe this pump, as it gets older, just because of the fact that it's dependent on that spring tension. How many cycles can a spring handle before it loses some of its pressure?
And those kind of failures, most of them are going to get warranted anyways, because there's going to be no rust or other contamination in the system, and those will be warranted under warranty. I've had them replaced. I mean, I've done prior approval plenty of times.
So those things do happen.
Chad asks a good question. He says, Cody, what was the price on that?
On the
Wasn't it like $30?
$30?
$30. Chad, with the bowl on the SNS filter, disaster kit need to be drained when changing fuel filters. I would change that filter every time I change fuel filters. Now I know that's not their recommendation. I think it's like 22,000 maybe for normal and 15 for severe. I'm changing my fuel filters every 10,000 miles, so it's every other oil change for me. That's just what I'm doing. But if you're doing fuel filters and you're already driving a duty and you're paying for fuel, what's another $30? Just replace the filter. So I don't even care about it. It's getting a new one every time I replace a fuel filter. So Ford Asset Tech, my man, there he is. Where are the buckets located inside the HPP? How do you guys know they're rotating? Yeah. You'll see when Luke takes this apart. So think of this as the cylinder head, and this is the block. And inside here is the combustion chamber. That is where the bucket sits and goes up and down. At the bottom of that bucket, there's a roller, just like a, roller.
Lifter.
Like a lifter roller, very comparable. And that is supposed to ride on the cam lobe of the inside of the pump. If it turns sideways and doesn't roll with the roller, this is still spinning because this is geared to the crank. Just grind. Now you got metal metal
Cat-
glitter paint and all of your
catastrophic
done.
failure.
You're done. So yeah, arm profit. Yeah, you don't know the buckets rotate until you're too late. So the question, I guess, arises: how are these buckets rotating? And it brings me back to aeration. Is aeration all these bubbles within the fuel system and around this bucket in the bore? Is it shifting the bucket? Shifting a little more, and then shifting a little more, and then shifting a little more. I don't know. This is just speculation.
Well, when you disassemble a
I mean, this is really a
catastrophic,
good question for Luke.
when you see a catastrophic failure on one of these, you're going to see the rotation. But does that mean that the rotation caused the failure, or once you blow that crankcase out and those buckets get destroyed, they're going to be rotated no matter what, right? Pretty much, or everything's going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
But does that mean that it rotated and blew up, or does that mean that it blew up and then everything's just rotated and
No, the rotation happened and then it blew up. Something caused the bucket to rotate.
Only thing keeping it from rotating is spring pressure up against the.
Pretty much.
And there's no, so it's not like a piston in a cylinder where it has a wristband and a connecting rod keeping it from rotating. It doesn't have any of that. It just has spring pressure holding it up against a flat surface.
Hey, we got a Buckeye asking a question. I don't think you can put a CP3 in a 6.7, can you?
Nope, they're too
Isn't
big.
it yeah, I was gonna say. I thought somebody said they were too big. Ain't happening. Isn't there a valve inside the HPP as well? Not the VCV, but another type of valve. I'm trying to review PCD.
There's a return valve in it. Pressure valve.
Would that be this right here?
That little plug on the side. Yep.
Right here. Asset Tech.
Luke also talks about that too.
Same spot on 11 through 19. I would just think the guts are different.
It's crazy to think that thing fails and then blows out your entire fuel system, and it's a expense of over $10,000. Like, man, it's a lot of money.
Yep. It's worth the $400 in my opinion, but
what?
It's worth the $400 disaster.
What else on your engine is that much money?
Your engine.
I mean, right, your whole engine. So wait,
your engine.
So wait, all right. So once you throw all this metal, it hits the injectors. What happens when it hits the injectors? It just stops there, or does it go inside the cylinder?
Dude, you're shut off. Once this VCV gets contaminated, you're done.
It will also send metal into the injector. It will get in the seats and destroy them. And you're done.
Does it get past the injector into the cylinder?
Well, they may, but I mean,
that's not killing the motor. That's not hurting the rings and pistons and all that.
Out of all the CP4 failures I've ever seen, I don't think it's ever
took out a motor.
Because it lost pressure before it could like hang an injector open or something.
Oh, okay. So at least it stops at the injectors. So what's the repair? Is it the injectors? Now, as far as the fuel lines, what I've heard is like
9 Baker 246 kit's got everything you're gonna need.
What I've heard is you have to replace the fuel lines and then clean the fuel tank and all that, the return lines and all that. So does that clean? Do you clean them or do you replace them? What do you do?
You got to replace everything, man. Right, I just got done doing a 750, 650, 750.
So how do you? What about the tank itself? Do you clean the tank or you replace the tank? What do you do?
No, you got to clean it.
You drop the tank, you clean it, you fill it with fuel, then you do the procedure outlined in the workshop manual to flush the lines. And once you've done that, then you can take the high pressure system apart and put the new one in.
It's a big process, man.
You flush out all the lines. Then do you have to get new injectors?
New injectors, new high pressure lines, new rails, high pressure pump, all that fun stuff.
Everything.
Everything that comes in that 9 Baker 246.
The only thing
So
that
if
does
you-
not come in that is the fuel cooler,
That's not.
fuel senders,
It's not.
and the low pressure fuel pump.
The cooler, according to the workshop manual, is not replaced in the system.
I know, but it's a little radiator, and there's
I
no way
know.
you can get the little metal critters out of there. So
I know.
for an $80 part, I'll put it on a customer pay line, and the customer can eat that. It's just
So
it's
here's
not
the
worth it to
deal.
me.
Here's the deal. What if you have something like this happen and you straight up, you don't got 10 grand. So you're gonna get the parts, you're gonna get injectors, you're gonna get that radiator thing you were just talking about, you're gonna follow the workshop manual, you're gonna do it yourself. It's gonna suck, but
yeah.
you're gonna do it yourself. How much you looking at?
I can see what the 9 Baker is on.
It's that one we did today with fuel disposal, fuel was just over 13K.
So from thoroughbred diesel, you're looking at 4,400, 4,200, 39. It all just depends on where you get it from.
So you could be so this would be a company outside of going through Ford. This is
Yeah.
like a thoroughbred diesel. So what kind of parts are they using? Like
Motorcraft contamination kit. I just looked up the.
it's just
9
similar to what Ford would you get from Ford?
Yeah. It's
So
it's the same kit. I looked up the Ford part number, the 9
So
Baker
you're
246.
you're looking at like a $4,400 just parts.
And a solid weekend of.
Mhm. A solid weekend.
You better buy a lot of beer. A lot. Maybe even something harder.
You gonna be working. It really sucks. You know, yo boys, 6'7", 350 Lariat owner here. Please keep your hands off my CP4. Yo, I ain't got it.
Well, here's an opportunity though. What if so you're talking about 4,500 bucks. What if you want to learn how to fix this and take advantage of vehicles that had this happen and whatever reason they couldn't do it. They had to sell the vehicle, they had to get rid of it because it was too big of a repair. And maybe you want a diesel truck. Maybe that's a way you can get into a diesel truck. You get one that maybe had some kind of fuel contamination, took out the CP4 pump and the injectors, and you put the money into it because whoever else just decided to dump it. I wonder if that could be an opportunity.
Is
That's a good question Chad has.
I was just reading it. Ford's pretty good about covering CP4s. I haven't had any denied, but you've got to follow the GSB because if you have any bit of rust on it, they will deny it.
Yeah.
Because rust is only caused by water, period. And
Like
they're not going to
diesel fuel
argue
doesn't
with it.
cause rust.
And they're not going to argue with it. It's water, rust, no go. You're done. Call your insurance company.
Where's the rust? Like in the pump? We're at
On the VCV. That's the main place.
Yeah.
So what if you just nabbed a new VCV and jammed it in there real quick and then was like,
That's called warranty fraud, and you go to jail for that.
Oh yeah.
Because you got no morals.
As a technician, that's a big hell no.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they're gonna call. They're gonna call back the parts too. So then you're definitely gonna get.
Well, that could happen. Like some guy comes in and he goes, yeah, well, he takes that whatever off and then and then they call back the parts and like, well, look at this part. And you're like, I don't know.
I had a guy try to do that. I had a guy try to bring his truck in from another dealer, and when I went to look up parts coverage, he didn't have a warranty because it got canceled at the other dealership because he refused repair on a contaminated system.
And he tried to bring it in and then make it, yeah.
Because he drained the fuel and made it look like it was a nice failure. Well, guess what? VCV doesn't lie. You had water in it.
there was something that came up, and I don't want to say where, but it had to do with a warranty from one of the big three, from a dealer, from a guy who makes videos. And I like this guy, channel I follow, but you know me, I don't always, just because I like a guy, I follow his channel, I don't mean I agree with everything. But he was talking about an engine that blew, like the engine blew up. And he's like, oh yeah, they're not going to warranty that because he must have been tuning it or doing whatever. He had to be tuning it because it blew up like more than once. It blew up a couple times, I guess. And I'm like, well, are you saying that they're denying it because they're guessing that he tuned it, or do they actually have like some kind of proof that they tuned it? He's like, oh, there's no way this engine blew more than once. He must be tuning it, denied. I'm like, wait a second.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Was it a Roush truck?
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking
I
about.
felt a little, I didn't say nothing because I don't want to make no one upset, but I don't know. Like, if you had the proof, if you're like, yeah, he's tuning it for sure, and we looked at the computer and yeah, he's doing stuff, but I think the video was just saying we assume he's tuning it because there's no way the engine can blow.
It's hard to prove tuning on gas cars without parts missing. It's really hard to prove it. Now diesels, I mean, that's easy because if the big old torpedo's missing, then
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, you have to. But I don't know. What do you think? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't know. It seems like, Cody, you saw it. What'd you think?
he 3 engines, that's cause for concern. Then I'd be looking at mode 9 and I'd be trying to figure out how many key cycles it's been, when was the last time he was in there, last time the PCM was programmed. I mean, I'd be looking for evidence.
What if there's no evidence?
Then there's nothing you can do. I mean,
they're like, oh, he's denied. But I'm like, listen, if you have evidence, then you have evidence. I have no idea. But is it possible? It is possible. It's possible. But if there's no evidence, why not? Why can't? What do you mean? You just he's turned away. No more. Yeah, but I mean, there's no evidence. I don't know.
My neck hurts. My shoulders hurt.
From what, man?
Wrenching, dude. Wrenching.
It's a hard life.
I wasn't wrenching, but I had a brutal day, man. I got stung by bees. I got stung by mosquitoes. Honestly, the bees are better than mosquitoes, man. I'm all jacked up from mosquitoes. But, man, I broke a window. Oh, what a day, man.
Hard knock life.
Just, it's tough, man. People stealing, people getting hurt, people doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing to other people.
Stealing. DS Trucks has been a victim of theft. And we collectively are going to stop theft amongst the Ford community. And I want all your guys' help to not only keep our farm implements and attachments secured to our Super Duty or secured in our yard, but this goes for everybody who has a Power Stroke, any Ford vehicle for that matter. You guys want to keep it, you should have some type of theft deterrent. And
I recommend you put 2 of those kill switches in your truck in 2 different spots so you could press them. They'll never figure that out. There's 2.
They won't.
You could put 2.
They won't.
I bet you could somehow put 2 together.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Listen, guys, people are out here. It's the people, you'd be surprised. It's somebody you may know that's got their eye on your truck. So really, once you get that kill switch, you can't tell nobody. You can't post no confidential type of
Only
information.
your closest friends, because
Only your old lady. That's it. Maybe not even her. I don't know.
it's a secret. You got to pay to know.
Because like she's just like, why won't your truck start? Hey,
DS is about to have it in his truck.
you can't start the truck, honey.
I got it in my truck. It's flawless. It's sneaky. It's sneaky. Hey, ain't nobody gonna take it. You better have 4 tow dollies, or a freaking flatbed, or a gang of dudes, or a cargo bob that you can pick it up from the air. It ain't going nowhere. Holler at the website, email, not website, killswitchme, ptt@gmail.com. That is killswitchme, ptt@gmail.com. Get in queue.
If you follow this channel, or if you've seen my channel, you know somebody stole my dump trailer. But what you might not know is right when my dump trailer got stolen, somebody tried to steal my truck too at the same time. Somebody came up to my truck in the middle of the night. They parked just right, so the security cameras, they couldn't really see who it was. It was kind of catty corner. That big 450 is hard to see around it. It's about blind spot there. You can see the headlights shining. I looked out the window and I could see those headlights.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking, it's 2 a.m. What are you doing? What are you doing out here at 2 a.m? So I was thinking, you know what? Listen, call the police. No.
Not good.
I got my keys. I got my piece, you know. And what I did is I remote started the truck. And I figure, you know, these people, if they're supposed to be here, they won't be intimidated. Maybe it's the neighbor. Maybe he's coming home from the bar. I don't know. But if he's not supposed to be here, then this is going to be an issue because they're going to think no one's awake. So I remote started the truck, and as soon as those headlights hit that car, they creeped away real slow. Now, a day or two later, that's when I found out my dump trailer was stolen. So whoever stole my dump trailer was also eyeing my truck too. Like I say, guys, there's always somebody you know, and you know, a week or so goes by, and one of the guys is talking in the truck. He's talking, running his mouth, talking. And all of a sudden he says something to one of the guys, not to me, but to one of the other guys. Oh yeah, my cousin, he steals cars. He's got a Corvette. He's got a brand new Corvette he brought over. How do you steal a new Corvette? What about whatever GM, what do they call that thing that GM's got where it talks to you on the dang rearview mirror? OnStar. Yeah, what about your OnStar? Well, they know how to turn that off. What about your Ford Pass? That's one wire.
You know how to turn that off?
One wire, Ford Pass. Oh, unhook the battery, done. One wire, done. One that system gives one communication failure, done. Unplug the dang antenna. Ford Pass is done. That's that simple. Where's the truck? We don't know. Ford Pass don't know. So you know, a lot of us, we think we're safe because we got built-in factory GPS. It can't be disabled. Yeah, it can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people straight up don't even. Some people straight up. How do you sell a car? When you sell a car and you have Ford Pass, what happens to you? It disappears. It disappears to you.
It disappears.
It disappears to you. Ford Pass is not secure. So I recommend you GPS, 2 GPSs for a Super Duty, an $80,000 truck, $90,000 truck, $100,000 truck, 2 GPSs. Put one, something like, hey, where you put it. Hey, we can't talk about where to put it. It's somewhere, maybe. It's a couple of them in there, maybe 3 GPSs. It's gonna cost, you know, $1,000, whatever. But on top of that, because you know they got that signal jammer where they put that signal thing in the truck and jam the signal. That kill switch, they'll never figure it out. They'll never figure out why that truck won't start. They're gonna think it's got we stole the truck, it don't even work.
They're not gonna know what's going on.
We stole a truck, don't run.
Like what?
If
Who?
they could steal it, but like you say, they need a dang forklift or something, man. So
Yeah.
it's somebody you know. Hey, somebody you know. I wouldn't tell nobody about the kill switch. Wouldn't even tell your friends.
Ain't going to be.
Don't even tell your wife. Not saying that it could be your wife, but what if your wife tells her friend? Because
Too many people already know.
her friend will tell her friend, her husband, and her husband tells her husband could be the thief. You never know.
I love my super duties. I just hate when people are gonna do this. Had a friend get his platinum stolen in Texas, gone to Mexico. Man, unbelievable. Is
Yeah,
this a publicity stunt to sell more of your kill switches?
absolutely, 100%.
I mean,
What kind
you
of
put
question
a,
is that, man?
No, I don't know.
I mean, DS put a video up about it. So
What
I
do you
mean,
mean? Like, what is what a publicity stunt? Like the theft of my.
You
Oh,
replace the
you.
fuel filter, water, and fuel housing with def. Mm, I replaced the whole fuel filter housing just because. But
I almost did. Remember the first
if
time
you,
I got a fuel filter and I got the whole housing,
oh man,
and I didn't even know. I'm just like, what am I looking at?
they screwed up on the wrong thing on that. Same with OnStar. One wire in the headliner and it's gone. Yep.
Is it a publicity stunt? Look, man, you could believe what you want, but when I'm telling you, these trucks are hot, man. These trucks are hot. There's a shortage that
What
makes
about
them
these
even more
dudes with
hot.
these Mustangs?
These criminals got nothing better to do. They ain't
Come and
hurting.
see me. Take care of you guys
They
too.
they are doing what they do, and something happens. Hey, it ain't publicity. Trust me, it's real.
21 PSD. Watch SNS's video and you can see what that other filter does. Because it's not going to do anything for you but filter the fuel that's going into your fuel system.
it filters the return, so you don't have to do the tank too, and do that whole system flush.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's on the return line.
What else do we have here? Had the pump, DS's trailer, his little situation with that employee, or his suspicions of such. I have so much equity in my truck, take it, I'll build another. I mean, that too.
What?
I don't know. They got some sort of computer, Ford Asset Tech, that is allowing them to take control or bypass the passive anti-theft and do something.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know why Ford. I don't know. Maybe
That's
too
way
expensive.
above our pay grade.
Too expensive. Then they'll have to ask $500 more for a truck, and then everybody is going to be complaining that the trucks are too expensive. I don't know. Way above my pay grade. I don't even know what kind of comparison Denso has that would meet 36,000 psi. I've never looked into Denso, so I don't really know. But
I mean, we're just a bunch of Ford techs. So
just guys talking about trucks, just trying to keep these things on the road, because I know, it's the going word on the street that a lot of these dealerships out there, all I've been hearing about is in Texas. I don't know what's going on with these Texas dealerships or the guys working in the Texas dealerships that I don't know. But if you guys can't confidently take your brand new rig into the shop to get it fixed for warranty work or something, or an update, or I mean, some of the stuff you're gonna have to do yourself. So that's why we put up, put up these videos and content to help you guys keep these on the road. Because whether you're a hot shot or making money, DS, running your own landscaping company, driving it daily, such as myself, it's something we all need to be thinking about, and that's taking care of these trucks, because they're not just a truck, but it's a tool. These are tools, a tool to get our job done. It's a tool to take us where we need to go, and we have to take care of that tool. It's very precisionally engineered and requires great attention. So I appreciate you guys at all that watch. It's a lot of good questions. Some of you guys are boneheads, and I have to block you guys because you guys are just freaking inappropriate. But a lot of you guys have great comments. And Jeffrey Carling's asking something to DS here. He says, sorry to hear about your trailer, man. Do you use top tier diesel fuel as recommended in the owner's manual?
I don't know. I just get Kroger diesel. I couldn't
Kroger?
tell you what tier that is. It's green. I don't know. I just use it from, I don't know. I use a fuel additive. I'd imagine it's top tier. What does that even mean, top tier? I don't use off-road. I mean, off-road diesel and green and the green diesel. I don't know where I can even get a different tier,
This guy's because what WTF is top tier? The only things I've been seeing is like premium diesel and regular diesel. I don't know what the premium is. If it's like
you've seen premium diesel somewhere?
Yeah, it was at a pump. I was going up north.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
I'm using that red ATF.
Sometimes I don't even have some of the gas stations around me don't have diesel at all.
I can believe that. It's scary. I got a question for everybody out there right now that's got an Illumiduty. Are you, I don't care if it's short bed, if it's long bed, are you guys having a problem with your distance to E calculating correctly? Like when you guys look at your cluster and you're looking at your distance to empty and you're looking at your instant, whether you're calculating it, writing it down, subtracting mileage, yada, yada, or is it working properly? Because I have a customer right now that is complaining that he is in fact not having a correct distance to empty indication on his Super Duty. And this is a 2018 model.
That can be off by like 50 miles or more if you read the description and operation of it.
Well, you have like, how many miles do you have when it starts? Like when it says 0, you still have, right? Let's just say hypothetically it just read 0, where there's a cushion in there. It's not gonna hit 0 and turn off. There's like a margin of error for guys that think.
There is how do they word it in the owner's manual?
Was it like 50 miles or something?
It's like a, what the hell do they call it? Undetermined reserve amount. And that's only to keep the CP4 cool.
Or even a gas engine, it reads 0 and it's like, you still got some another 50 miles before it turns off. Some margin of error for guys that want to push past 0.
Yeah, now, you don't want to push past 0 with the CP4s. Now, I mean, even a quarter of a tank, you don't even want to go much lower than that. But that's just my opinion.
Now, as far as it not being accurate, it changes in real time. like all the time. So you could get on the highway and it might be extended. It might go from like, oh, you can go 700 miles all of a sudden. And then if you get off the highway, now you can only go 400 miles. So just it's constantly readjusting, and then you're resetting it and it's recalculating, and it's never really going to be like, oh, it told me I can go 700 miles, and then in a few minutes it may just tell you something totally different.
Yep, and that all changes depending on driving habits. I mean, idle, it'll change it.
Yep.
City driving will change it. So I mean, how accurate is DTE really? I mean, it's close, but it's not something to live by.
If you're going on a road trip, it can be close. Say like the driving conditions are relatively stable, and it says you can go 600 miles, and you get on the flat road and you go 600 miles, and maybe, but what if you hit a hill, or what if you hit a headwind? That it can't predict all that, calculate all that. That's going to lower it, and you might not get what it said at the start of a trip. You may not get what it said toward the end of it.
Yeah, I don't recommend going lower than a quarter of a tank anyways, but
yeah. I hate when I see guys come in, especially when they're complaining of a drivability problem and it says 20 miles to E. Like, come on.
Well, I got 90.
Why would you even bring it in with 20 miles to E?
I got
complaining about a running problem when getting on the freeway.
I got 90 miles to E right now, but I'm about to fill it up.
Go put fuel in it.
Well, I run the tank down every time, and I put fuel in it and put my additives in it. And I'm just like, I burn the whole tank. I don't like fill it up at 30%. It runs down to like, I don't know. What's it? Well, what does it say? It doesn't say, it says like the miles. It'll say like 90. I'm probably fill up to next time I drive it. But never, I don't know, maybe. I don't know if I go down to 20 miles. I don't know.
I am on my 42nd tank in almost 14,000 miles.
Oh, dude, have you noticed that your truck gets faster as you like get more miles?
Huh?
It seems like my engine's breaking in more as I'm reaching 10,000 miles.
Yeah, I run Eco 2, Hugh. I run Eco 2. I've been noticing definitely difference in trans operation, difference in turbo, and I don't know, maybe just like throttle. I'm thinking the camera's over here. Throttle response. So I definitely would concur. What does the Eco actually do? I have some paperwork at work. It would be a good topic for another one to go, another live stream to actually go over the drive modes and what each one is doing. Because now that we have the 10-speed, we have a few more different trans operations, and it definitely is a difference having it in eco mode. I can definitely tell a difference. I filled up today and I'm running and testing eco mode for the first time. It will be interesting. Just drive it normal, Chad, just like you didn't have it in eco, and you'll notice like when you normally get up to your speed or whatever, I don't want to say it's feeling like it's doggy, but you're feeling less power. Very minimal. You're just you're so in tune with how your truck is normally running. You put it in eco mode. Now you're filled up, and you're just going to go and drive. Just pay attention to your RPM. Pay attention to your turbo. Your same throttle input, the same drive that you're doing. You're going to notice definitely. Like my man said, definitely less responsive. You'll for sure know.
Well, is it less fuel consumption?
Well, I mean, if the engine's going to work less, yeah, you'll get better fuel consumption. American Truck Nation, probably because you don't have a 10-speed.
Well, I want more throttle. I drive too fast.
There's a direct correlation between the right foot and mileage. Yes, sir, there is. Yeah, I can definitely feel the slight difference. It's very slight. Slight is a good analogy. But, if you're not in a hurry, hey, just pop it in eco and check out the difference. What I really like is I got to tow a trailer for the first time, a double axle bass hybrid boat, not hybrid as in bass, hybrid walleye boat. Why did I say bass? I meant walleye. Sorry, Reelan. And I really liked using the engine brake. It really did a nice job, but I haven't ever driven a Dodge. I don't like talking about Dodges, but for whatever reason, I hear their engine brake is just phenomenal, and it's always better than Ford's, and Ford sucks, and this, and this. Well,
It's the way the turbo's designed.
I
But
mean,
the
I thought it
Dodge,
worked good.
the Dodge does about put you through the windshield.
Does it really?
Well,
Okay.
the Dodge
good.
has the Dodge VGT works in like a unison, a big ring that just goes back and forth in the turbo housing, fixed vanes, and it just slides in and out. And Ford's has got the unison ring and the vanes. So the Dodge is like literally blocking off the exhaust.
From my experience with the Ford one, it's a little less aggressive, I guess, than a Dodge, but that aggressive of an engine brake can have its downfalls in slippery conditions and stuff like that. Whereas like the Ford one, which I wouldn't recommend anyone go against the manual, but I use mine in slippery conditions and it's not that aggressive. So it seems to be all right. Not saying anyone else should try that because it's not recommended, but it seems all right. It's not that aggressive. And when I'm in 4-wheel drive, I'll turn on the engine brake. I don't care. In snow.
Why would I want a Ram? That's damn straight. But I do think it's pretty cool. While I'm talking about them again, is that they're high idle. You can control with the speed control. Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
They got a good looking truck.
I think that's pretty cool.
It's still made in America. It's a good truck.
They got the Cummins going for them. That's about it. And that's questionable now.
It's a good truck,
Until the injectors start leaking and fill up the crankcase and destroy the motor. You think CP4 problems? You think CP4 problems are problems? Wait until that crankcase fills up with fuel.
Oof.
You know what? I like the Ram, but having an aluminum truck, to me, it just seems like the value proposition right now. Just because if you're gonna buy the truck to have rust on your truck, I don't know. I've never seen rust on an aluminum truck. I never seen an aluminum.
It doesn't rust. It only
doesn't rust, but
oxidize.
I've never seen it corrode in any way. It's not corroding.
It will oxidize over time.
I guess, but I've chipped.
Oh no, it's not. I guess it will.
Walking around like a.
I've never seen it.
Expedition rear hood.
I've chipped my trucks and down to the metal and all that. And it's not. I mean, I guess over time, I don't know, but it's not nothing like steel where it rots out and spreads and all that. No.
Just wait until where the pinch welds start getting salt and stuff in them, and they start opening up.
Have you seen it?
Does.
Have you seen them? I haven't seen anything like that. You see that?
We did see it in extreme weather testing at Roush on the F-150. But they were like literally covering the truck in salt.
I've scratched my paint down to the metal where you could just see the aluminum. It hasn't spread or corroded or anything. It's just been fine.
Just give it time. It will happen. I promise.
I think it's gonna take a longer time than the steel truck.
It probably will.
Who out there has rubber floors? Who out there is spraying out their Super Duty because they think you can do that because you have rubber floors? Tell me now. It's okay. I'll wait. I'm waiting. I want to know because I've been hearing about it. I've been hearing about it.
I've seen it on Facebook. Guy just takes a hose and just whoosh. What's wrong with doing that?
Freaking A rights. Look at this. Look at this deer rodent coming in.
Who's deer rodent?
Hello, dear. Juvenile Doubtfire, dear, at your service. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This guy says me, no spraying, wiping, bye-bye BCM, no spraying. Are you nuts? No, I am being for real. Like spraying. Oh, well, I just open up both doors and just power wash from the left to the right and the right to the left. You mean you can't do that?
I've seen people saying that. They're like, well, I spilled a chicken.
Are you serious?
This guy was like, I dropped the chicken in the back seat.
Are you serious?
There's chicken juice all over, so I just hose it out whenever
It's with the amount of electronics in these trucks, that's like a hard no.
Dude, I got a problem with my 450. Like when I, reach inside and go to open the door by touching the inside of the door. Well, it opens up the door, but the rear one won't unlock. Only the front one unlocked. Then I got to hit the button on the key. It's hard, man. It's a big life. It's hard, man. This is a big issue. My hands
I'm stuck with this. I'm stuck with this old thing.
Cody, listen, man, my hands are full. Just imagine me walking up to the truck. I got 2 kids. I got 2 little kids. I go, and I hear that noise, and then I'm like, oh, let me open the rear. All 3 out of 4 doors are unlocked, and the rear driver's side won't unlock. And I'm just pulling on it, and then just imagine the pain. You pulling it 3 times, like, oh, let me get my key out and do this. Horrible. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. PTT, you want to fix it? Or is it?
I can fix what you want.
Does it sound like a complicated issue or what?
I was doing something. Run that by me one more time.
I'm reaching inside of the truck.
Oh, yeah. With the water?
No, I'm unlocking the door. I put my hand in there and unlocks all the doors. Except one of the doors is not unlocking until I hit the button on the keypad. On the what do you call that? Key fob. Horrible. I gotta hit the button on the key fob.
Go to the other side.
It's 2020. Yeah, then I gotta go over there, and it's 2021. You still gotta press a button. You're supposed to just touch it.
Like you can't just open the door.
I would open the door, but the damn door won't unlock. It won't unlock unless I put the button. I'm supposed to just touch it. It's supposed to be keyless.
Keyless.
Yeah, keyless.
Oh Christ.
Tough times.
What a goof. What a goof.
You know what happened to my 152 when I was like, I left my sunroof open and it rained inside of the truck. And then that started happening. I was like, yeah, time to turn this truck in. Doors don't want to work right no more.
Wipers aren't going to be working. Radio ain't going to be working.
First thing I did, I left the sunroof open and it started pouring rain. And then my phone starts going crazy, like the alarm was going off on the truck. And it starts going off and making Ford Pass go off. And I'm like, what's this? I go, oh, dang, my sunroof's open. So I run outside and close it. And I probably got like a good 45 seconds of just downpour inside of my truck. I'm like, dang, it's soaked in here. So I started it up and just cranked the AC to just dry out, just crank up the
Dry
AC.
out everything.
Try to dry out everything as best I can and put on the recycle air button and just let it run. And it kind of worked, but it smelled a little funky for a minute,
Oof.
for like a day.
Oof.
I kept running the AC and I was like, yeah, I'm turning it in. I mean,
Oof.
so
That's the worst. That's the worst. I hate that smell.
but what do you
Well,
think? If something like that happens, it's probably a good idea to try to just turn on the AC for a minute, huh?
or leave the doors open with a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other way to do that would be to dry it out.
Yeah.
Well, fam, I think this will probably end it for tonight. Just wanted to highlight, stuff with the CP4, especially this kit that we got. We're going to be installing the SNS Gen 2 Fuel Disaster Kit. I recommend that you guys check them out and see for yourself if this is something you want to add onto your truck. Make sure to check us out on the other podcast apps. If you guys cannot check us out on the live stream, if you guys want to get on the Kill Switch, check us the email will be in the description. And yeah, we thank you guys for watching every time. We'll see you.